Journey Across Gene's Saga. Book 1. Now, Then, to Come. Part 2. Then. Chapter 2. Hell. As you slowly regain consciousness, the throbbing in your head makes you wish you were still knocked out. It feels like something is trapped inside your skull, pushing up against the bones, the muscles, the skin, trying to get out. At the same time, the lower fourth of your body is being crushed by something, someone. Gasping for air, the smell of urine and feces chokes you as you come out of your forced coma. The pressure on your chest is too much. If only you could push yourself onto your side. But your hands are tied behind your back, and there's no room on either side of you, just more bodies. Presently, you become acutely aware of a strange, continuous humming sound, vibration. It's coming from an engine, but you wouldn't know that. You'd never heard an engine until these recent events. You have no name for such a thing. There are sounds coming from all around you. Moans, weeping, dry heaving. These sounds are human. Occasionally, bursts of laughter, also human, can be heard a bit farther away from the cacophonous chorus of pain and suffering. You try and reach out to share with your partners. Nothing. Both invisible strings connecting you to them are there, taut, very taut. Your partners are alive, but not physically close. Normally, you can sense them as long as they stay within a certain radius of you. You can feel the emotions begin to well up, tight in your chest. At least they are alive. But what happened to Octavia? You can't feel the connection between you and your second child. You call out to her, "Jarmekem, my child." Silence. Suddenly you become aware of your olfactory senses again. Besides the urine, feces, and sick, there's another smell lingering in the air. It's not smoke. You're familiar with the smell of burning wood. It's some kind of combustible, not smoke. In fact, the last smell that you can remember as you, the other elders, and the youngins were forced out of the refectory was caustic smoke. Suffocating smoke and heat were used to flush you and your community's most vulnerable out from your hiding place. Then, the ringing inside your head and the sudden pressure, the pain knocked you unconscious. Your face smashed against the pebbles as you tripped over something, someone. Now you're here. Where is here, you think? You are in motion, although your body isn't moving. The occasional bump sends you and those around you up in the air, crashing down again. More moans. There is sobbing, too. Lots of sobbing and sniffling. "Jarmekem," you pause. "Anyone? Can anyone hear me? Say your name and skill." Your voice is muffled through the stacked bodies. Just as you begin to hear a few people beginning to answer your call, the vehicular comes to a halt. You and your bound companions are jerked around. Someone's knee jams up against your nose and mouth. Instantly, tears well up in your eyes from the sudden acute pain. You can taste iron. Several of you release guttural groans. In the near distance, you can hear deep voices, although you can't make out what they are saying. And then, there is more squirming and shifting around you. Then, someone starts screaming. Then, a loud thud sound. The screaming stops. You hear gasps and then crying. The deep voices penetrate the pile of bodies surrounding you. But this time they are laughing between unintelligible strings of murmurs. Now, more shuffling of bodies. 2 bodies that were smushing you are hauled off you suddenly. With the instant relief of pressure, your diaphragm instinctively inhales a profound, painful breath. You feel your lungs fill with air. Through your blurred vision, You can see what looks like continuous, fuzzy, incandescent lights, like from a fire pit, but up above you, shining down. A large, uncloaked figure grabs you by your bound hands while someone else takes a hold of your legs. They pull you to the edge of the vehicular, and you drop to the floor. All of your own weight seems to crush your right arm and shoulder. You yell out in pain. Someone kicks you in the back. It's not a hard kick, more of a warning of sorts. Still cruel. You can hear the groans, moans, and whimpering of people all around you. You try to get a better look around, but your vision is still quite blurred. The pain is unbearable, and you wish for nothing more than to be in your hammock, convalescing. But you need to assess the situation. Who brought you here? Where is here? You take in a deep breath and focus inward. You try to sense the nexus between you and your partners, but the pain is just too much to bear. Instead, you switch your focus into your body. Does anything feel broken? No. Can you see who is around you? Yes. You count 5 large figures, obviously at work unloading bodies, people, most likely your people, from the vehicular. You can't make them out very clearly, but they look tall and broad. You can't tell if they have facial hair or if they're wearing some sort of adornment around the front of their necks. Your damned eyesight hasn't been the same since the eye clouding began several reawakenings ago. You keep looking around. You make out some of your neighbors, about 10 of them, but there are some bound people near you that you think look familiar. No. You're sure you've never seen them before. Do these scorching marauders just snatch random people from other settlements after burning down entire encampments? Scorching marauders. You realize now that you're inside of some sort of expansive structure from the old world. In fact, the building you are in was a transportation hub for many centuries. You guessed that based on the confluence of iron tracks running alongside the walls of the once glassed enclosed building. It's still dark out, given that the only light is coming from what seem to be mechanized lamps. You realize now that it's not fire, but some form of artificial light. You grew up hearing stories of this kind of lighting, but you'd never experienced it until now. Most of the technology of the old world has rested, out of use since the Great Dying, as far as you know. Like in other parts of the old urban center and its once suburban outskirts, vines and other foliage have taken over the structures, most of which are in ruins. This building, however, has seemed to maintain its structural integrity over the centuries. As you look around, you notice that a group of people are being lined up and their bondages removed. Then, you begin hearing the screams. At the front of the line, 2 marauders are busy at work. One of them is holding a struggling person by the left arm, while another brandishes an iron rod that glows orange on the end, that is then stamped onto the right hand of the person from whom the screams are originating. What the scorching hell? From seemingly out of nowhere, one of the marauders grabs you from behind and is standing you up. But you are very weak, and you almost pull the marauder down with you as you fall back onto your rear end. Then, you hear a whack, too close. Pressure fills your head. As the pain begins to envelop your whole being, you fall unconscious to the hard, cemented ground. You awake to a throbbing pulse on the right side of your head. The dull, reverberating ache makes it difficult for you to open your eyes, but you manage to squint. You seem to be lying down on a somewhat soft surface. A blurred figure is hovering above you. You can't quite make out the image. You keep squinting and blinking, trying to adjust your vision. Then, you notice an excruciating sensation coming from your right hand. You try and raise it to your line of sight, but you're too weak. Then, someone is talking to you. Easy, Ondi. Just try and relax. It's your eldest child, you think. Here, drink some water. She puts a gourd jug up to your mouth and you drink. She's alive, you think, swallowing a gulp of tepid liquid that tastes a bit earthy. It's not refreshing at all. Then you open your mouth. Octavia? You try and sit up. You're still too weak. You relax your core and give in to whatever you're lying on. It's rigid, but there is some give, maybe a blanket of sorts. Jermikem, you repeat, but softer this time. Your head is still pulsating, making it hard to really focus on anything but the pain, making it impossible to initiate sharing, but you can receive. The figure draws close to your face, her beard tickling you as she embraces you in a way that isn't too obvious for onlookers. Shh, Ondi. Don't draw attention to us. Then you get a good glimpse of her. Sharp nose, chubby cheeks, long eyelashes. Her thyroid protrusion is pronounced. Urs? You begin to shout out and then quickly remember the warning. Ursula? This time a whisper. My Ursula? You're alive? Thanks for listening to another episode of Fenn Thornbot Reads. If you want a notification for the next episode, don't forget to hit subscribe. If you liked what you listened to today, hit the like button. And if you think somebody else might like it, hit the share button. Thanks again, and we'll catch you next time. You can interact with the book online at fennthornbot.fan or just scan the QR code above. And may hold guide you as naught makes itself scarce.